Welcome everyone to this short paper session with apologies for the technological difficulties. It's a pleasure to welcome Ghasem Darzi to give his paper Non-Human Animal Symbolism in the Qur'an, a modern exegesis of Qur'anic verses based on the mother archetype by Gustav Jung. So welcome Ghasem.
It's an honor to be here in this excellent conference. My subject of presentation is non-human animal symbolism in the Qur'an, and modern exegesis of Quranic verses based on the metaphor archetype by Gustav Jung. Before starting this presentation, it's good to thank all my colleagues in the science and religion front for all the hard works. My presentation is advocate to the modern archetypes that Gustav Jung for the first time spoke about that. Archetypes were considered in psychology with discussions that Gustav Jung, a famous psychologist, Freud's prominent student, raised in this connection. Now you can see the two famous books of Carl Gustav Jung that allocate to the archetypes. The first one is 4 archetypes: Mother, Reverse, Spirit, Trickster, which published in 1953, and another one is Man and His Symbols, which published in 1963. My presentation is according these two important books. Archetype, far from being a modern term, was already in use before the time of St. Augustine and was synonymous with idea in the Platonic usage. When the Corpus Hermeneuticum, which probably dates from the 3rd century, described God as the archetypal light. It expresses the idea that he is the prototype of all light. That is to say, pre-existence and subordinate to the feminine light. Archetypes are the patterns that are accumulated in the human mind and affect human behavior. Archetypes are stored in the human collective unconsciousness. Jung considered the mother archetype to be the most important in all of the archetypes. According to Jung, these archetypes have an outward and objective aspects. Like any other archetype, the mother archetype appears under the almost infinite variety of aspects. First in importance are personal mother and grandmother, stepmother, and mother-in-law. Then any woman with whom a relationship exists, for example, a nurse or governess or perhaps remote ancestors. This category belongs to the goddess and especially the mother of God, the Virgin, Sophia. It is a figurative mother sense. Other symbols of mother in a figurative sense appear in things representing the goal of our longing for redemption, such as paradise and kingdom of God, the heavenly Jerusalem. These are also the figurative sense of mothers. Many things arousing devotion or feelings of awe, as for instance, the church, university, city, or country, heaven, earth, the woods, the sea, or any still waters. Matter even, the underworld and the moon can be mother symbols. The archetype is often associated with things and places standing for fertility and fruitfulness. The cornucopia, a light field, a garden, it can be attached to a rock, a cave, a tree, a spring, a deep well, or to various vessels such as baptismal font, or to vessel-shaped flowers like the rose or the lotus. Because of the protection, it implies the magic circle or mandala can be a form of mother archetype. Hollow objects, such as events and cooking vessels, are associated with the mother archetype, and of course, the authoress, uni, and anything of a like shape. These are things and places standing for fertility and fruitfulness. The archetype is often associated with things and places standing for fertility and fruitfulness. Yeah, but I think this slide is repeated. Because of the protection it implies, the magic circle or mandala can be a form of mother archetype. Hollow objects such as ovens and cooking vessels are associated with the mother archetype, and of course the authoress, uni, and anything of a like shape. Added to this list, there are many animals such as coal, hair, and helpful animals in general. All these symbols can have a positive, favorable meaning or negative, evil meaning. An ambivalent aspect is seen in goddesses of faith. Evil symbols are the witch, the dragon, or any devouring and end-winning animals such as large fish or a serpent. The grave, the water, death, nightmares, and bodies. These are animals which are symbols of mother archetype and show the negative and evil meaning of the mother archetype. The qualities associated with it are maternal, solicitude, and sympathy, the magic authority of the female, the wisdom and spiritual exaltation that transcends reason, any helpful instinct or impulse. All that is being, all that cherishes and sustains, that fosters growth and fertility, that place of magic transformation and rebirth, together with the underworld and its inhabitants, are presided over by the mother. On the negative side, the mother archetype may connote anything sacred, hidden, and dark. The abyss, the world of the dead, anything that devours, seduces, and poisons, that is terrifying and inescapable like fate. Due to the close relationship between archetypes and symbols, especially in different religions, it's necessary to evaluate religion sources, especially Qur'an, in this connection. Looking at some Qur'anic symbols that can represent the mother archetype. So I want to speak about these three animals and their symbolic meanings and interpretations in the Qur'an. The first one is the cow or baqarah. According to Qur'an, in the stories of Moses and the Israelites has found the mass manifestation. This animal has found a symbolic manifestation in the story of the Joseph in different positions in the form of the dream. So in two kind of story, we can see the representation and the narration of the cow. As Jung documented in his book, A Man and His Symbols, the cow as a primary animal is a symbol to be sacrificed for the fertility and happiness of creation. Example of this ceremony are sacrifice of a bull by Mitra, the son of God, which led to the birth of the earth with all its blessings and beliefs. This is this picture that the Mitra sacrificed bull. As is obvious, the cow is in Jung's mythology is related to rebirth. Rebirth and fertility are also one of the characteristics of the modern archetype. In the Qur'an, in Surah 2, chapter 67 and 73, we can see this story and recall when Moses said to his people, "Indeed, Allah commands you to slaughter a cow." They say, "Do you take us in ridicule?" He said, "I seek refuge in Allah from being among the ignorant." So we said, strike the slain man with part of it. Thus, does Allah bring the dead to life? You can see that in this story, the connection between the cow and rebirth of the dead. As a strange story is told in these verses, the Israelites who had a conflict with each one of their own, God ordered them to sacrifice a cow to clear up the story and put a part of the cow's body on the dead body so that the dead person would come back to life and tell the story. In this story, the cow is a symbol of revitalization and rebirth. This rebirth is both for the person who is dead and for resolving disputes between people. A paradox can also be seen in this story. The rebirth of a dead person depends on the death of a living cow, a philosophy that is generally seen in urbanism or sacrification among religions. Another story is about the Israelite and calf worship in the 48, and the people of Moses made after his departure from their ornaments a calf, an image having a lion. Did they not see that it could neither speak to them nor guide them to a way? They took it for worship, and they were wrong doors. It seems that the deification of the cow among the Israelis is due to the nurturing and vital power that exists in this animal for humans. Also in this verse, the cow is a symbol of reproduction and rebirth. Another story is about Pharaoh's dream in the story of Joseph. In this story, the cow can be symbol of growth and rebirth, while the symbol of the negative side of this symbol also stands out. This story is dedicated to the king's dream, in which he dreams that 7 lean cows eat 7 fat cows. In Surah Joseph, number 43 and 44. And subsequently the king said, indeed, I have seen in dreams 7 fat cows being eaten by 7 that were lean, and even green spikes of grain, and others that were dry. In this symbolic history, which is completely related to the to dream interpretation and psychoanalysis, cow is directly related to fertility and growth, and the same symbolic concept of death and life that was discussed in the second surah is also emphasized here. Let's go to another animals, a snake and serpent, hayya and thu'ban. As we saw in the first slides, according to Jung, evil symbols are the witch, the dragon, or any devouring and end-winning animals such as a large fish, or a serpent. Two animals that well represent in the devouring mother in the Qur'an are a snake and serpent, hayya and thu'ban. These two animals, at the same time, which show the negative side of the mother archetype, destructive mother, also demonstrate its positive side, reviving mother. This staff plays a key role in Moses' initial encounter with God in the Quran. In this dialogue, God asks him, "What is in your hands?" The staff is in the hand of the Musa. And he answers that, he said, "It is my staff. I lean upon it, and I bring down leaves for my sheep, and I have therein other uses." God then asks him to throw his staff on the ground, which suddenly turns into a snake. So he threw it down, and there upon it was a snake, moving swiftly. All of this is just a rehearsal for the confrontation between Moses and Pharaoh, where the challenges the sorcerers to let magicians to let go of his staff, to swallow up all that magician have done, and defeat the phrase, and through what is in your right hand, it will swallow up what they have crafted. What they have crafted is but the trick of a magician, and the magician will not succeed wherever he is. So the magicians fell down in prostration. They say, "We have believed in the Lord of Aaron and Moses." As seen in these passages, when Moses brought in the shape of a snake devours the magician staffs or snakes, they revive and believe in Moses and his God. The snake in the narrative is a symbol for the destructive mother and also superior mother. So the positive and negative images of the mother archetype are gathered in this story for the snake. Another phrase in the Qur'an is in Surah Al-A'raf, the verse 107 and 117. So Moses threw his staff, and suddenly it was a serpent manifest. And the inspired to Moses, threw your staff, and at once it devoured what they were falsifying. Here, serpent swallows all their falsifying. Therefore, the serpent is a symbol for swallowing evils and deceptions and giving new life to the idols. Jung's archetype, in conclusion, I want to say that Jung's archetype presents a new and different approach to the psychoanalytical interpretation of symbols, especially sacred texts. By using Jung's psychoanalytic interpretation, many animal symbols used in holy texts, especially in the Quran, become meaningful and important to us. The cow, which is a symbol of fertility and creation of new life, is also used in the Quran with the same symbolic meaning. And the largest surah of the Quran is known by the name of this animal, Baqarah or cow. Based on this, and based on psychoanalytical analysis of the story of the cow in this surah, the original purpose of this surah is also interpreted to create renewed life in humans and faith. In Joseph's story, the cow is a symbol of fertility. At the same time, its negative meaning, which is famine and drought, is also evident in the surah. Snakes and dragons also appear prominently in the Quran, especially in the story of Moses, devouring which my presentation is over.
Yeah, I think we did get to your last slide before we lost the internet connection. So are you willing to take a question or two?
Yes, I'm here for questions.
Yep. Good. Well, first let me say thank you very much for your presentation and for putting up with all the technical difficulties. We appreciate your patience. Are there any questions?
Well, I have one, yes.
Yeah, I think you have to come close to the laptop mic.
Thank you very much for your talk. So, I'm just interested in how the symbolism that you talked about affects present practice. For instance, if in the Quran the snake is associated with the evil mother symbol, is it the case that practicing Muslims today look with suspicion and aggression towards snakes?
Thank you so much for your good question. Yes, I think that the psychoanalytical interpretation of the Quran, according to the Jung theories, can be made the holy texts practical for us, and we could use the meaning and the applications of these texts, and we can use it in our living, and it's not just holy texts, and we could use it in our living. And about the evil meaning of the archetypes is it's also true that the stories which are narrated in the Holy Quran can be useful and practical for nowadays living, I think.
Right, thank you. Have we got?
I hope that I answer your question.
Yes, I think so. Have we got any other questions? No. Well, can we just thank Ghasem one more time for